All right, Coach, spring ball over. Assessment here in 2015.
Well, I thought our guys really improved in a lot of areas. I know offensively we want to try to find out who our tight ends were. We did have quite a few people kind of went in and out. The one young man who really came to the forefront was Kendall Kuhlman. One big thing we wanted him to do was improve on his blocking. Did a great job of that late in the spring ball. He ended up catching the ball really well. Got a chance a little bit of Tyler Meeks and did some things there. Center position was another position we were really looking at. Lucas Holder ends up at this point in time would be if we had to play today, he would be the starter. And then got Richard Queen there backing him up. And Jonathan Burgess didn't do a whole lot this spring. We didn't need to see him, but he would be a guy that could play some center also. So offensively, that's kind of some of the things. Defensively, I thought that our defense did a great job there. We tinkered with some things there as far as with our secondary. We had a lot of guys who hadn't played a whole lot. I thought that they came in and did some good things. The one player we want to see a lot of improvement was Tyron Holloway. We really want to see him be more aggressive, want to see him be more effective in coverage and being able to come and play the run. He did a better job of doing that. So I thought we got more depth at the corners, at the safety positions. We feel like going in this season, we have more depth and feel good about quite a few guys. Even though they haven't played, I think they're going to be some things happening. The one guy probably stood out the most in the back end of it was Corbin Jackson. I anticipated him to really be a good football player. He hadn't played. We redshirted him last year, but I think he's going to be very talented. Cam Jackson, I can go on and on. Linebacker, very solid. The defensive line there, I thought a guy that came in and did well was Gerald Holt. Really showed up a lot and did a lot of good things there for us, and it was good to see him. He was kind of in the last year, didn't do a whole lot making plays, but this year we had very much trouble trying to block him as far as this spring football.
Avery James moving to linebacker, was that something that you anticipated doing before the spring, or is it just the depth at that position that you were lacking a little bit?
We're kind of experimenting, if you want to use it. We will notice that he could play there and can play on the back end too. So we want to get him more reps there, and then just trying to see what we're going to do as we move into the fall. So we know now we actually can play him in both positions. So he probably can be used at both positions. So I ain't going to sit here and say that he's strictly going to be a linebacker or strictly going to be a safety. Again, that's what spring football is all about. You kind of experiment on a couple things here, and it was advantageous for us to find out that he could actually do both.
Running back situation, DJ Abner ahead of Desmond Rice coming off the injury. How do you stack those guys up?
6 one half and the other. We could flip-flop the other way. Tomorrow it could be Rice. So, just at this point in time, we had Abner there, but it's not much different. They both going to play, and, it could be one guy starting one game and another guy starting the other. We have a lot of good backs, so we're very, very good at that position, and Coach Fobbs deserves a lot of credit.
Which area of concern did you maybe have some before spring practice and now coming after practice and be able to assess everything? You say, oh, maybe we're not as concerned with that as I thought.
I think on the defense side of the ball, at the safety position, we had a few guys, and at the corner position there, Guillory did not practice. We held him out pretty much majority of the spring practice. He had some experience, but we had some other guys in there. We had a chance in Corbin Jackson, Cam Jackson, and again, we made that little move there to Avery. We had Alpha Jallo played a little bit last year, but getting him some more reps in there and seeing what he can do. We had a lot of guys at the team, but they performed well. I really was pleased the way they performed. So I'm not quite as concerned going into our preseason camp about our secondary there as far as that. I'm actually more excited about it because, like I said, I think we got more depth that we can play a lot more guys. Even though they haven't played in a game, I'm very satisfied with what our coaches did and what our players did as far as assessment at the end.
What did Michael Henderman show you in camp?
Michael Henderman improved. He was close to that guy as almost the next guy as far as the most improved player. He really has come on strong. Last year was very inconsistent, but this year he knows where he's going, knows what he's doing on a lot more consistent basis. He's going to be a powerful guy, going to be a guy that can really run over some people and do all those type of things. So we're expecting him to have a great year, and I was very pleased in his progress, and Coach Wagner did a very good job with him.
I've heard he's got a little bit of a nasty disposition in a good way.
Absolutely. In a good way is the right way to say that, no question about it. So, again, he can do some great things there. He can run well. He's a big guy, very powerful. And again, just as long as he settle down and knowing where he's going, what he's doing, and then he puts all that, he has all the physical tools. It's just a matter now making sure what he needs to do and how to do it.
You guys have had a run of some prolific wide receivers even before you got here. You got Zach Parker there. You got Darren Peterson. Looks like he'll get plenty of targets. How do you assess the wide receiver position in connecting with Josh?
Well, the receiving core I thought was up and down, if I had to say the overall throughout the whole spring football, but I thought they finished fairly a little bit strong as we went through the last few practices that we had. Obviously, Darren Peterson is doing well and improving on some of the routes that we wanted him to define a little bit better. I thought he did that pretty good. And really outside of that, we were really searching for what we call our H position, then our Z position. Shales was not able to perform this spring, so it gave some opportunity for some other guys. But unfortunately there we had Shales was out and Farrell was out in that aspect of it. Didn't get a whole lot of reps to see some of those guys. But it gave us some opportunities for Zach Parker. We kind of had a little bit of H. We let him play the Z position, our outside position. Dakota Kelly was solid, did some good things there. A young man that we really just got on as a walk-on guy, Marquise Fitzgerald, a guy that can run and do some things. Again, he's raw. He might be really a year away to really doing some things that he can really come out and help us win some football games. But Ryan McCarter was steady. It's good to see him back out there. Obviously has excellent hands. That's one of the greatest things he has. It's good to have him back out there and performing at a pretty good level. So I think we've got a solid group. I don't think that's all defined yet as we get back into a preseason camp. As we get those couple of receivers who are out and they come back, I think we should have a pretty good group of guys.
What did your mid-year enrollee Ernst Anderson do to crack the two deep?
Ernst Anderson, I think the first thing he had to do was a language. Obviously he understood a little bit of English, but as we come in here in the huddle, sometimes some of the, I guess in his words, the dialect in some things that we were saying. And when I say something we were saying, I'm talking the coach, Josh Woodrum, and then Masha, the quarterbacks, how they're talking and how they're saying things. He couldn't understand some of it. So for the first week or two, it was mumbo-jumbo to him as far as that goes. And then as we got along, he started hearing and understanding what our verbiage was and doing some things of that nature. He's probably a year away really to really be impactful as far as really contributing a lot. But I really think that he's going to be a good football player before it's all said and done.
Do you still anticipate that he's going to redshirt this year?
It's there. I think a lot of it's just going to depend on how everything goes and trying to say the top 8 or 9 guys. So I'm not going to say yes, he will be redshirting this year. I'm not going to state that at this point in time. But I think if he continues to improve, I think he can be in there as far as a backup situation, and we want to play him and get him some reps, and then maybe the next year, he'll be ready to go as far as that goes. So it's still open as far as him being able to play a redshirt.
Besides DJ, did you get out pretty healthy?
Yeah, we're all pretty healthy. We're pretty healthy for the most part there. Again, we had some people we held out and all that. Maybe 1 or 2 of them could have played in some situation, but I just felt like it was better for everybody, those guys, the Shales and some other people who were hurt, and we just felt like it was best overall to keep them out and making sure they be ready to go in the summer and also in the spring.
What kind of step does Alpha have to take this year, filling in for Jacob at that position?
Well, I think Alpha has to be somewhat almost, use the phrase a quarterback in the back end per se, and understanding obviously had Gary Sampson back there and all that too. But I think if he can get to that level, which we think he is at this point in time, understand he's a whole lot better than he was this fall as far as what to do, what calls to make, and when to make them, and being a little bit more assertive in his calls. He would make some calls, but he was kind of mumbo-jumbling, and then people couldn't understand him. And now being in spring football, he was able to speak it a lot better and do a lot of good things from that side of. So he has the talent, has the skills, and I anticipate him to continue to get better and better every single day. So we'll feel very, very good about where he's at this point in time.
Do you have any comment on the reports about Ron Brown coming over here as a receiver?
That's still yet to be determined.
Okay.
Yep.